Robert Creech. My wife Melinda and I have been married for 36 years, and we have 3 kids. I am professor of Christian ministry and director of pastoral ministries at George W. Truett Theological Seminary at Baylor, which means I teach courses in life and work of the pastor and in leadership and ministry, and direct the internship program our students are engaged in. I grew up in Houston, Texas, and on the near north side of town, and my mother made sure we went to church every week. It was Glen Rose Baptist Church. And by the time I was a teenager, I was pretty much tired of going to church. I just didn't like it, to tell you the truth. My dad didn't go at that time. But my sister, a year and a half younger than I, had begun to get involved in youth activities, and she was always inviting me to come to some of the stuff they were doing at the church. And I finally went on a retreat with the youth group when I was 10th grade. And I met these people, the other kids at church that I didn't know very well because I didn't go to school with them. But I spending the weekend with them and hearing the things they were talking about, I really, for the first time, had this realization that these people have different life than I do. They think differently, they believe differently, they practice differently, and it was very attractive to me. And so I started attending church really regularly, and I just became more convinced that I wasn't a Christian. I needed to make a decision myself. And so when I was about 16, I made a commitment to follow Christ. The invitation of Christ to follow me is a huge invitation. We use language like accept Jesus into your heart. Much more than that. It's like follow me, learn my ways, learn my life, go where I go, do what I do. And the invitation, to hear the invitation of Jesus to follow me is one of the most powerful things I think a person can ever hear and respond to. And it's not any more complicated, I think, than having a sense that Jesus is saying that to you, inviting you to follow him, and then saying yes to that and beginning to align your life with obedience to him, commitment to him, just learning to know him after that. I then started really looking hard at what's God want me to do with my life. Over time, over about a year and a half, I really sensed a call of God into ministry, that was the place to invest life. And so I just kind of set my course that direction. To me, passion is the church in contact with its world, not isolated off on its own. And the spiritual formation and all that is necessary in order to be able to do that well, but for me, a heartbeat is a church that's focused externally with good news and good deeds mixed together. I've been with churches in interim periods a number of times. I think one of the things people need to remember is that this is a period, it's kind of a wilderness period. It's between point A and point B. We have left Egypt, but we're not in Canaan yet. And in the scripture, that's the time when Israel experienced God most plainly, most real, was in the wilderness. And I would say to the congregation, don't see this interim period as an in-between time and a time of just waiting and we'll pick up things later. This is a time to meet God. This is a time to pray for direction. The church should have a spiritual experience as a result of a period of seeking God's direction, praying for their search committee, relying on each other, supporting their staff. This should be a rich time spiritually for a congregation, and it's a good time. It's a time God will meet with his people.